video is intended as a bit of a wake-up call for people. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but when it comes to the subject of narcissism, I look around and it kind of feels like everybody's lulled into a false sense of security. I just want to remind you of 3 things that we know narcissists do regularly that prove they are of an evil intent, that they want bad things for you. We know that they're in control of what they're doing because they can switch it on and switch it off. If somebody else is watching or they know they're being recorded, suddenly their whole personality changes. We know this. That's been documented multiple times. They are in control of their behavior. Their behavior is incidental. It's downstream of something else, a strong craving for undue adulation and for a form of worship that is called narcissistic supply. Number 1, what the narcissist is actually trying to get you to do is to submit. It's very, very simple. You're saying, oh, why did he do this? Why did she say that? Why does he keep doing this? Why does she keep doing that? I've told her I don't like her. The point is that you are supposed to submit. They want you to give up. They're deliberately attacking your will. They're deliberately attacking your confidence. They're deliberately attacking your self-esteem. And the point is to get you to give up hope that you'll ever escape, to give up a belief in yourself as a decent and lovable human being, and to give up on your lust for life. They want blind submission. Everything they do can be understood through that overarching principle. They want you to submit. Number 2, narcissistic abuse is a form of invasion. They're colonizing your mind. They're deliberately and carefully brainwashing you to think the way that they need you to think. They will use intimidation tactics. They will use manipulation. They will use flattery and ingratiation. They'll butter you up. They'll tell you exactly what it is that you want to hear. They'll pour honey into your ears if it gets you to lower your defenses and to submit to their will. They want you soft and pliable so they can colonize your mind, so they can brainwash you, and so they can compel you to do what it is that they want you to do, which is to worship them. Number 3, the narcissist is never kind. Never, not once. They never take a day off. If you are seeing the outward forms of kindness and you're being lulled into thinking, oh, look, they're being giving, perhaps they've changed, perhaps they've decided to do good in the world, there's only one of 2 things that is happening. Number 1, they are posturing to alter your perception of them, to clean up their reputation, to make up for past misdeeds, to get you to believe in redemption or that they've changed, to get you to bring your defenses down. Or 2, they're softening you up. They're softening you up. They're luring you into a false sense of security to make it easier to penetrate into your sense of self, to destroy it from the inside out, so that they can get total submission from you. I apologize. This video might be triggering for some people. It might be too confrontational and too aggressive in some ways. But as I said in the beginning, my general sense is that people are kind of relaxing around this issue. They're seeing the narcissist as someone who's kind of vain, a little bit arrogant. She's a bit self-centered. He's a bit full of himself, but it's kind of cute. No. If that's what you're dealing with, I don't know what you're dealing with, but you're not dealing with narcissistic personality disorder. You might be dealing with just a vain, arrogant, and annoying person who probably could be dealt with and handled by a good therapist. But if you're dealing with narcissistic personality disorder, you must understand the intention, and the intention is evil. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what psychologists you point to, what experts you point to, what coaches you point to. The intentions, listen to me, of the narcissist are evil, and you should judge them as such from a moral standpoint, because that's your last line of defense. Your capacity to judge from a moral philosophy and say this is good behavior, That is bad behavior. This is acceptable behavior. This is unacceptable behavior. This is the only thing that can save you. This is the only thing that can bring you out of this. Have you noticed how hard it is for you to say that good is good and bad is bad? Have you noticed how difficult it's become for you to simply say that bad behavior is bad behavior without following through with some stuttering apologetic apology of the morally relativistic type? Oh, but we should understand their trauma. But they suffered in childhood. But perhaps that's normal in their culture. No. Evil is evil, and wrong is wrong everywhere. These are universals. It's not moral relativism. If somebody's behaving in a primitive and dangerous and vindictive and sadistic way that causes destruction to an individual or to the group at large, and make no mistake, narcissists do damage to individuals, multiple individuals in a lifetime, and to groups, to family systems, to businesses, to religions, to organizations, a broad spectrum. What they are doing is evil. It is not good. It could not be said to be good. Their purpose is not to enlighten. Their purpose is not to emancipate. Their purpose is not to increase human dignity. It is to enslave. This is the colonizer mindset. They want to colonize your mind, erode your sense of self, erode what makes you you. Fill your mind with the poison of moral relativism. Maybe up is down. Man, maybe left is right. Maybe this isn't that bad. Maybe the people who say this weird thing I want to do, maybe they're just squares, man. Maybe they're just repressed. And then what? And then what? What's the effect of that? There you are going, I don't know what's right and I don't know what's wrong anymore. How convenient is that? For them. It's convenient for, it's not convenient for you. How many times have you lain awake, wondering, was it me? Was it him? Was it her? What did she do? What did she mean when she said that? What did he mean when he did that? When I told him specifically not to. But then he told me it was my fault. Maybe he's right. You're confused because you've been colonized, because you've had your mind poisoned. So what they want to do is they want to break down your outer boundaries, get inside of your most personal space, colonize it, and then poison it. They leave behind a software virus that keeps working, whether they're present or not. It tears you apart from the inside. Why do they do that? Because it momentarily makes them feel good if people worship them. Oh, it's ruined your life. Oh yeah, well, that's too bad because you don't matter and they do. But are they evil? Should we call them evil? I don't know if we should. Oh, should we call them evil? Yes. 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 Evil. Yes. Evil. Call them evil. Yes, you should. Yes, you should. Stop wringing your hands. What they do is evil. They leave behind a software virus that keeps operating that will destroy you even after they've gone. For what was the point again? Why are you being sacrificed? Why is your capacity to love being permanently damaged? Why is your soul being eroded? To make a very fragile, very vain, very selfish human being feel amazing, transcend the material world, and become, I don't know, a bodhisattva, a demigod? No, to make them feel a little bit better, a few times a day. That's why you're being tortured. That's why you've been broken. That's why you've been enslaved, to make a very fragile, very nasty human being, very vindictive human being feel a little bit better. That is all. I hope that this video is something of a slap and a wake-up call. I think what is happening, and this is the best faith take I can have on this, is very nice, very well-intentioned, very empathic people are talking about this subject. They're trained, so many of them, in psychology and in therapy and in counseling. And they're trained not to judge. And that's right. In the therapeutic space, you shouldn't judge. They're trained not to get into issues of right and wrong and morality, which is right. Within the therapeutic space between the client and the therapist, generally speaking, you don't judge the client's actions or beliefs as good or bad. You help them to understand where they've come from, and perhaps to transcend them, and perhaps to improve them, and maybe to bring them to truth. But there's little morality there. Psychologists and psychotherapists are not priests and priestesses. It's not their job. But that attitude, this hand-wringing, morally relativistic, tea and biscuits, oh, there, you poor thing, sort of a kindergarten teacher, mom attitude, where everybody's just a child and we should all just get along and the kids should share their toys and we shouldn't judge anybody and everything should... No. This is poison. You're drinking from a poisoned well. This is not about social cohesion and making sure everything is fair for all the other little boys and girls. No, this is about survival. And if you don't get this right, you will pay with years of your life. Years. I have. I know it's true. I know what it cost me. The best years of my life. Good years. Could by now be married and have kids. And I don't. And I know why. So I know what the cost is. So I'm not going to have some goody two-shoes psychotherapist tell me what the right way to handle this is. Because I've paid that price. Personally. And I know you will too. Unless you have the strength to get a hold of this situation and say, this person is evil and I shun this evil. I cannot have it in my life. You need to cry, you need to scream, you need to grieve for months on end. Great. Get all the support you can. If I knew you, I would support you through that period. But I wouldn't support anybody. Not for one day, not for 1 hour, not for 1 second. Continuing in this morally relativistic schlop fantasy, this brain rot, sloppy fantasy, that we are all equal and our actions are all equal and we're all just victims of victims and we need to understand why, violent, aggressive tyrants and dictators kept people in dungeons and fed them to animals because their culture was different and their childhood was hard. My childhood was hard. For most of you, your childhood was hard. You never fed a human to a tiger. Don't know why I've got the Husseins on my mind. It's not like they're the only tyrants in the world. When you're thinking of really cartoonish levels of evil, Saddam and his 2 sons are a pretty good point of reference. Anyway, that's the video, I guess. I hope it helps. Nobody's coming to save you. Ladies and gents, thank you for your time and for your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.